Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This is a client reading. I have 3 decks for this video. The first one is the Slavic Legends Tarot. I'll use it as an overview for the reading. Then the Theater Dolls Tarot. How to overcome the stresses of your transition and specifically moving, but I know there's a lot that goes into it. So I also have the Kitsune Oracle, which is an interesting energy for me because it was relevant when I had to make a major move a couple of years ago. And now I'm making an even more major move in a couple of months. So I think that it'd be helpful in that regard. I think that with the Kitsune having a lot of fire energy too, there could be a lot of passion and drive that goes into it, which is important to have the motivation to move, to keep a steady pace with this. Sometimes when you're moving, it almost happens so suddenly. So I wouldn't leave everything to the last minute, but I wouldn't break everything down too soon either. You need your kitchenware and some of your clothes, some of the things to make you comfortable living at your apartment. So I'll pull out the cards. When I was about to start, I got cold and I got a headache. So definitely too stressed for this, which doesn't help you and the situation. It doesn't seem like there is a lot of motivation either. So when I said that the cards were flying out, not a lot of motivation at all. And it's understandable. So and the phrase I'm getting, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Oh my god. Because what you're where you are at right now. You're not moving just yet. You're exactly where you need to be. So you can live in the present and do the things that you need to do in the present. And there's going to be some multitasking. These are really good cards that are coming out. Um, but I'm also getting it's a matter of time too. Matter of time in a way where this needs to happen and it's going to be in an amazing way. The extra cards, I didn't turn over all the cards yet because I placed them facing down until I pull out all the cards. And I got the Lovers and the Two of Cups. There's a lot of comfort that will come out of this too. And I think it will enhance your relationship. The immediate future, things are being set in place. With the Ten of Swords, it's more of a mental response or something being that you're being told, or there's some type of communication. So this feels like a confirmation that kind of like set it in place. I'm also getting maybe you might hear something in the past. You were talking about it. And with the Page of Swords. But I'm just getting with the extra cards too. You'll enjoy it more than you think. Another extra card is the Page of Cups. And it's more of like in a loving state. And with the environment, it is more of a soothing environment with the stream. And then looks like read, and there's a content expression on the person's face. And the clouds are like pink and dreamy, and um there's something heartfelt about it. And then across the pond or across like the stream, it's like the tree without the leaves. It's like scarcity that was on the other side. And then another extra card to go with the Page of Cups, the Justice card. I think what you're getting is what you deserve. Justice is justice. So it'll give you the consequence or the outcome that you put out already. It's going to be a lot of work though, with the Knight of Wands. And then you see the fire in the background, and he's wounded, but he's still going. Because I'm also getting you have to look out for yourself. That was the saying that was coming out. And with the things burning, there might be some things that you'll leave behind. So it could be people, but I'm getting a lot of physical things. So you might be throwing out a lot more than what you're expecting, which might be a good thing too, because um, it's going to be a lot to handle, a lot to physically lift. I don't know if you're how much help you're going to get when you move, but you already see that he's wounded. So even with the efforts that he made, it was a lot to handle. And then you have the Four of Swords. Four of Swords having to rest from the Three of Swords. Three of Swords can be exhausting because it really pulls in like on you mentally and emotionally. This is like almost feels like passing out exhaustion. So in that case, I really wouldn't bring everything. Most things I'm getting. A lot of internal energy. The present, you have the Ace of Cups. But it seems more internal, not external. And in the mind, you have the Queen of Cups. And with that, the Ace of Coins, Ace of Pentacles. It seems like keeping a lot of stuff in. There isn't a lot of releasing. And it's not just about physical things, it could be emotional too. Like, just because you're not in the same place doesn't mean the memories are gone. And of course, it's easy to say rather than to live out, but there is this there's this Irish cartoon movie, Song of the Sea, and the mom is a Selkie. And so when she gave birth, she had to go back to her kind because she couldn't stay where the humans were. And so she had her daughter, and then towards the end, she was going to get her daughter because she had Selkie in her too. And turns out that she took her coat because the Selkies need their coat, um, or else they'll get sick because it has some magical properties to it. And she turned her human. She took out the Selkie in her by taking that coat. So that could be more symbolic too in exchange. And her son, because she also had a son, was asking her to stay. And then she's like, remember me through my songs, or your songs and dreams and memories. And although it's not as nice to have them through your memories, regardless if you're there or not, they're still memories. You're just in a different location having those memories. So the overall energy, and I didn't even turn over all the cards yet. So the overall energy is the Strength card. So there is an internal struggle with the Queen of Cups because the heart is on the mind. You're living through your heart, and that's part of the struggle too. Your mind isn't um, doing what it does normally. There has to be almost boundaries too, like practical boundaries. Although it's good to listen to what your heart says. What is your mind thinking, or what has it already heard, or what is it learning, or what have you communicated with other people? Those things matter, not just what's on your heart, because it's a cruel world. And I say this time and time again, you have to know how to play the game. You're not going to make it. And that could be with anything. A lot with business, even with relationships, if you don't set your boundaries. Um, Having other people treat you the way that they feel like treating you and not the way that you should be treated. In this case, with life, like, you have to know how to play the game. You're not going to make it. And that's what the strength here is. I'm not saying to not have your heart on the mind, but there is, sorry, my voice, there is a balance of what the heart wants and what the mind already knows. Steady footing, the underlying energy, though, is the Knight of Coins. It's also a steady paced one, but being grounded is a good one. I think you already know that this needs to be done. So the Karma card is a really good card for you. It's the King of Coins, the King of Pentacles. So after you invest in this, it will help you financially. And the King of Coins with the can be a Taurus energy, and generally knowing how to where to put your money, how to use your money. It doesn't just need to be about money. It could be about your environment too, a prosperous environment where stuff isn't constantly being um, damaged, or if it's damaged, it's not going to take 10 years for it to be refurbished or rebuilt or whatever, fixed up. Um, Also, my palm being itchy, me receiving, and being able to use the money towards other things. He has a belt too, so although it might not be the direct reference to buckle down, I feel like this next place is where you can buckle down. So it could be a place where you're able to set roots that won't rot. That was wrong with the other place. You see in the Page of Cups where there's no leaves, there's no nutrients in the ground, the environment isn't good. There's something that's polluted in the environment. It's not prosperous. Maybe it was before, but it's um the soil is weak. And with the King of Coins and the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Coins. So that's really on your mind too. With having uh there is wealth here, and being able to make the most out of it. With this one, now I'm feeling the energy. It's like the things that eat at you at night. And with it, finances, maybe what eats at you at night is where you going to put the money at towards. It's just not a comfortable feeling, especially if you have to choose paying your bills over paying for food. And then the Four of Wands. And with that one, I'm feeling being able to be merry, being able to be fruitful and happy. And with the Ten of Cups, this is a really good move. I am getting great cards for this reading. The environment right now is the Seven of Wands and the Five of Wands. Both struggles, and I'm just getting like to keep afloat. So it feels like there's struggle on top of struggle. And you see that with the bear, because the bear was also in the Four of Swords, and he's wearing the mask as the Seven of Wands. That's where his exhaustion is coming out of. But you keep working at it because you have the Nine of Wands. And then your hopes are fears, the King of Swords. There is a ruthlessness that I feel like comes out of this card. Because sometimes you do things, sometimes you have to say things that are good for yourself. And not everyone will respond well to it. So with the swords, a lot of times with communication, this bluntly honest King of Swords, and maybe it's not even him saying it so harshly, but with the reality of it is that you have to say things and do things that are going to keep you going because they're not going to be there to take care of you. Because he's already the king. He was going to decide from the people that work below him, but the king has to look after the kingdom and for his family too, specifically himself in this reading. And then the Knight of Wands. It might seem more aggressive, but the truth will come out. In the further future, you have the Two of Wands and the Six of Wands. This might be more fun for you because then these are cards for wands. But in some decks, and some say that the swords and the wands can interchange. Swords are linking to the air sign, but they work well with wands because it's like a tornado and like almost like making the fire dance. And a lot of times with the fire and the air signs, the fire works well with air in that regard. So your mind will clear and then you'll be able to start over. This is the Two of Wands, being able to finally see a future. And then the Six of Wands, um, moving forward victoriously. So keep going. And then the Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands, although he isn't a king, and hate to say that because we don't want to go with titles all the time, but with it being a younger energy, it might be good because it's like a little more pep to your step. You see that there's fire underneath him, so um, that can really build up with having more enthusiasm or energy or needing to get something done. With the king, it's a little more older, more settled down. So this will definitely get you up and on your feet for sure, but not in a bad way. So I'm gonna get the Theater Dolls Tarot out now. I'll have to clear my keyboard because I'm just putting my cards there. And then I'll pull out a an oracle card too. And I'm gonna say, how can you de-stress about your move? And I was gonna say mood. So definitely intertwining. So in sync. So the first card that you have is the moon. And it's interesting because the symbols that are standing out to me are the eye and the dog. So things really being revealed to you. And it feels like it's a dog barking, as if like barking orders or giving the reality check. Hopefully that's not me because you're the dog. But it it does feel like the reflection in the background is really telling and revealing the reality of the situation. It's really beautiful. In the past, you have the star card because although this is a stressful thing to do, there is such a underlying happiness that goes with it. And thinking that it's Aquarius energy too, with the balance of the water and air, because it's an air sign, but it has the symbol, has the picture of water, and that is the balance. And so you see in the bottom of the card that there's pictures and diagrams on how this figure can get to the star. And then the star is just smiling as if it's already being anticipated. And it's almost as if it's like a feeling of like the divine is smiling down on you in a way. Like this is maybe even divine intervention where things have gotten so shitty that there just needs to be like a almost like a middleman or something to just get the ball rolling. And in the beginning of the reading, I was getting Kali energy too, another deity of, one might say, destruction, a lot of change, uh, like a feminine warrior energy type of change, to being like a catalyst. And um, the tower was going to fall eventually, because with the tower, it's in the major arcana for tarot. A lot of times with the tower card, it could be, again, rotting soil, something's wrong with the land. You can't be there anymore. And that's why there's a move. The energy, once you accepted that was the energy, once you accepted that that's what needed to be done, it's the things are now picking up, and you might feel that energy too with that, because it's the Knight of Wands again. Knight of Wands, just All that energy needs to put it somewhere. Sometimes doing what he doesn't need to be doing, but he has the energy to do it. So if he's doing like 80 things on Sunday night, you best believe he's gonna be at work Monday morning. He may have gotten a monster, 2 shots of espresso, but he made it to work. He's a disaster, but he made it. I'm not saying you're gonna be a disaster, but um, things are gonna pick up the pace, and um, it's gonna be a lot of movement there. The further future is the Eight of Pentacles. This is a steady working card. I feel like what can really set the tone is the workload. And you see that she's decorating the prop of the tree because this is the theater dolls. And she has a ladder there. And we see the ladder and the star too. This is elevation, this could be motivation. It's also having the resources to do this. Once you feel more secure with what you have, and sometimes you might need to sacrifice some things in order to have the things that you really need. Put the money towards the things that are more substantial to you, that are utmost important, essential type of items. And not putting it towards something that's going to break in 10 days can really set the tone. The broken appliances, the unfinished kitchen, the constant disasters of the apartment. The money doesn't need to go there. The work doesn't need to go there. And that'll be part of the future of the de-stress or the motivation for the de-stress. It's also a learning curve too. I feel like you're not going to know all the answers. Some answers won't be revealed until things start moving forward. But I don't think you need to focus too much on those things at the moment. You can definitely research what you're doing. It's good to have at least general knowledge of what the process is and what you'll have to do. Overall, if you know that you have to wait on something, there's no point of waiting and stressing and seeing when that package will arrive when it you only ordered it like 20 minutes ago. So the next step is the Page of Pentacles. The struggle is actually the Strength card. You see the lion and the lamb. But it could be a power struggle too, because it's not bad that the lion is giving better treatment to the lamb, but the strength and even anatomy, because when I was in school, I was petty because they had a question. It was like the discussion of reason, like the anatomy of the male and female and who's stronger. And I just would not accept that the man was stronger. And I argued and I argued. And the professor's just like, I'm sorry, I can't agree with you on this one. With this one, the struggle is feeling like you deserve it, especially with the slang up in New England, looking wicked dapper, something like that. You have to play the part. This is the theater dolls tarot. This is real life in a way too, because you think that everything is true in its true form. It's not in its true form. There's a lot of falsities, and you have to really read between the lines with it and see and research what the reality is. So you need to be the part. And it might sound a little strange, but if you're going to do this, and you deserve what's happening. Be that person. Don't just think, I could just deal with having a shitty life because I don't mind. I've been living like that my whole life. And I'm like, well, why? If you had the choice of staying in a five-star hotel compared to like the Motel 6 where it's a disaster zone there, and someone was just like, well, you don't want to stay at the five-star hotel. Yeah, of course, you could stay at that motel. A lot of fluidity here too. And there needs to be an exchange. I also feel like this has to do with your relationship too, with the dynamic. Maybe your partner needs to put more work into it instead of, I'm not saying he's doing the minimum, but if he understands the situation and something needs to get done, then you shouldn't be the only person doing it because you both are in this. And it's the same thing almost with like communication too, where maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, but say a person is bothered by something and then the other person doesn't know. And then the other person that's bothered is thinking, well, he should know that I'm upset about this. And the other person's like, what am I supposed to do? Read your mind? Like, I don't know that you're upset about this. Um, it could be part of that too, but maybe he might not know. And I don't know if he's doing research into this, but it might be good to delegate too, because you're going to be a workhorse by the time this is over. You don't want to be too burnt out. And it doesn't always just need to be like the physical labor intensive things. Um, and it doesn't need to just be your partner too. If you have other people in this, not necessarily moving with you, but that can help you, just give them the job. If you know that you're going to be tired by the end of it, put away the ego or thinking that you could do it yourself, even though you know it's going to be exhausting. And not to think like, oh, I'm bothering them. Because the person's not going to know unless you tell them. The person's not going to give you an answer until you ask them. So you might as well just get a response. And that might be coming from me. And I don't know, I just think, well, I won't know until I ask the person. So sometimes it could be too direct, but I feel like that's a part of moving forward in life. In the reality of this world, it's just an extroverted world that we live in. People don't really want to say that, although there's books on it. Another card for that. So much with the dynamic. I feel like I feel like this place is really hurting your relationship too. Um, with the strength card, with the lion tending to the lamb. Maybe one person has to tend to the other person. And it might be seen as exhausting or feel exhausting. That could be the struggle too. And that could also be, well, I'm already doing all this stuff. So why do I need to help with this? Don't you want to live before you die? There's another quote from the Watership Down. It's like a animated rabbit movie. It's one of my favorites. And they're talking about freedom because they started a new coven, or not coven, but they started in a new environment. So they were saying, well, basically that we're free, but it was like a speech from the lead rabbit, the um Hazel Raw, what they were saying. And we're free, but we have to maintain our freedom. And the fight just doesn't stop here where we have our victory. Life keeps going. So the next step with the Page of Pentacles, and she also looks like she's training or lifting or preparing and balancing too. You have the Six of Wands. And the Six of Wands in this one is an interesting one because it's usually a figure, it looks like maybe soldiers coming in on their horses, and then the townspeople are excited because they were victorious in battle. But with this Six of Wands, it feels as if there's such a solitude with that, like a silent victory that isn't needed. I I feel like part of the victory itself is to move and to have a new adventure and to be able to live your life, to live before you die, to really enjoy the things that are out there and not just confined in this environment that takes from you, but it doesn't give anything back. So with the Oracle card is tending to the future, and she has her potted, well, it looks like it, one of those bulb type of, sorry, the ones that need to be in water. And she's carrying it. So this is kind of a precious thing too, where tending to the emotional needs, but also feeling as if when you're doing these things that you're carrying that. You're basically carrying your heart and you're tending to it each step as you go. And if it needs water, you water it. If it needs some food, you feed it in whatever way. um, the analogy is kind of slipping away, but there's a lot of guidance with this too. We see the butterflies, and the butterflies can be ancestral ties. Maybe the ancestors leading you to a place that you can thrive and again set your own roots so that um, you can live comfortably. It's almost like a new era, a new generation, and with the ancestors and your guides helping you along the way. It's almost like it's a blessing. You might not see it, but again, being able to remember those memories and to live them through them, live those memories through your dreams, and um, be happy with what the future holds. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.